better month over month, given recent events.
Yeah, can't speak for Yams except to offer the neutral observation that she seems to be over the immediate sort of like, taste of bitterness, if you will. As for me, I'm a little bit more philosophical, and just we'll take it day by day, and look forward to good news.
Well, that's good. Second question from Wellington: do we have any updates on Gorizia and Renown?
I don't, and I should have asked. I'm sorry. I do not have any updates on that. I know that time has been spent, and so probably you'll see them roll out. But I couldn't give you a date or a time on that.
Okay. Third one's more for Corky, for Wellington's own curiosity. How in tune with the Royal Navy and the players, the players in the game, how in tune are they with Churchill currently? If you can say that.
Into what?
Well, I guess are they thinking along the same lines at times?
Well, I guess I can't speak for Corky on this one, but surely, how how could you know that? You'd have to go and ask him, I suppose. I don't think that would be something that would normally be known to a player. You just have to sort of read into it and find out. Okay. Corky, do you have a different opinion on that one?
I have the opinion that the players can decide this themselves.
Okay.
I think rather sooner than later.
Okay, well, they have that to look forward to then. And then a follow-up for that, do you have an idea of how Churchill feels about Pembroke 7 and Vane? Their whole little science experiment going on?
I don't know Churchill well enough to know what he thinks of crazy scientists.
Got it.
He loves them, but who knows if he loves these guys?
Actually, that would be a question for Kat. She is a Churchill fan here.
I would think that Churchill, like most other, like many other heads of state of the era, would find it all quite fascinating. In no small part because they don't want to be the only ones ahead of the curve, so to speak.
So Wellington's next question is: could we get some more info on the once and future Victory faction that appeared in week 16? Is Victory still plot relevant? How about Royal Oak? We know Constitution is, and he's heard that Maryland is as well.
Yeah. That was a lot.
Yes, it was quite a lot. Let's break it down. This
is contested territory between Diff and me.
Corky. We can't talk. I'm sorry. We can't spoil that for you guys.
Yeah, I know one half, and Diff knows the other half, and we haven't talked about it because we stopped it.
So the answer is
it's basically okay. Let's give a little insight. Constitution was in the main story, so what I'm doing is not the main story.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want and try to respect the main story. So that's why Connie is sitting there and I don't touch her.
Yeah, so you have no input into...
Except when I put up a war plan and the US Navy took a recreational trip to visit the Constitution in the river. Instead of fighting Morganas or something like that. Yeah?
Yeah.
And let's just note that it's not necessarily that any of those threads have been, dropped per se, but when the time comes, you'll find out more.
Mm-hmm. But to put it just succinctly, story that we're basically doing side story stuff currently.
I would say that Corky has tremendous latitude from a black chicken standpoint. He's got tremendous latitude. Now, whether or not he feels comfortable yet in exercising that latitude is something different.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. It's basically before it was this story, and now I wrap around a few things and get a feel of it, and we only have finished second week, and we are now into third, and it doesn't move as quickly as some people want, but some people are very comfortable with the tempo.
Yeah.
And I will come back at some point, certainly, to stuff you think, why haven't we been there the last 15 weeks? But first, for a good example, what happened to the US this week was totally not planned, but we are still in the beginning phase, and I try to get a feel and to get a feeling with the whole team of volunteers, of what needs how much attention.
Right. And Wellington's final question is there a way you'd prefer we keep track of the various ships and bells for operations? Example being, there's 2 carriers who participated in Heligoland that in real life were either in the Mediterranean or in the South Atlantic at the time.
I think that's a quirky question, but I'll just note that obviously, based on your decisions and the plans that you've been generating, already we've seen some divergence where certain vessels were then recalled or put in different geographic locations in order to support whatever task force is being assembled at that particular time. So I think you would go on and sort of expecting that the historical deployments might serve as a guidepost, but certainly you would normally expect them to be relied upon.
Okay. Let's see. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Corky? Or are we good to move on?
Yeah, the keeping track is, you keep track or you don't keep track. I keep track in some way. Okay. And we have kind of Schrödinger's fleet. So if something is pinned down, like the French and the Italians are very far ahead on that front, if something is pinned down, I keep track of it. And if we say a Sparrow goes through the Suez Canal, then she can't be in Gibraltar.
Yeah.
So every ship not named anywhere can be everywhere, because in 6 months you get far. Now, stuff out of the realm of reality would be like suddenly an Italian carrier that doesn't exist popping up in Pearl Harbor next week. Yeah, that's impossible. So you have to take into account, do we have a ship pinned down anywhere? Or is it sunk? Or is it sold to whoever? And if you can keep track of it, we will keep track of it. But especially with the big nations, the beauty is we have like a gazillion of destroyers. We can pop up and sink down wherever we want at the moment. And this won't change anytime soon.
Yeah.
And I deliberately do not pin down the fleets to the last ship if possible. So, yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Sorry, go ahead.
But those 2 carriers can be only in one place, and if, I don't know, you have 5 carriers, only 3 can be anywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah.
But due to Morganas, the IRL deployment, you can scratch it.
Okay, moving on to the next set of questions from Cervantes. Their first question is, the earliest League of Nations choice for something akin to everyone joins together to fight the Morgana, or some nations seek a separate piece with the Morgana, obviously the former one, but I'm curious what the ideas were for separate plot lines had the latter been chosen.
I can speak on. I can speak to a degree on Japan, and not anything like definitive in terms of where the plot may or may not be going. But if you want to get a sense of what I imagined could be the case for a future Japan collaboration angle, Yubari's story is your friend. There's threads in there that may or may not be picked up on, depending on where we all go.
Okay.
But yeah, like I think the sort of the founding, principle of this is that we wanted to play the war with you guys. So we got broad strokes out there, but really, I mean, there are some tremendously impactful choices that you guys, could have made, or in some cases did make, that are really spinning off in sort of unique directions. And I mean, that's the joy of it.
Okay. And their second question is, can we get a Yami plushie at any point?
Well, we fiddled around with the idea for sure. Obviously, Kickstarter fulfillment's going to take first priority, but yeah, I think everybody on the team would want one.
Okay. Next set of questions are from Free Jones. Their first one is a very popular question that I've received a lot of times. How is the search for a publisher going?
Yeah, it's going. We've been in contact pretty much, the entire time since we made the announcement. Unfortunately, Paradox did get back to us, and they're kind of trying to stay clear for the most part of the mobile market, which makes sense for their business, but is unfortunate because that would be an incredible collab. But yeah, it continues. We've got some good conversations, but nothing as clear cut as what we thought we had, several months ago.
Okay. And the second part of that question really is, how have you adapted to the new status quo in the meantime?
Oh, painfully, right? I think everybody wants to work, nonstop on naval rifles and all the rest of it. But Dank, how are you adapting?
I mean, I'm making it work. It's been fascinating for me to see the community sort of pick up the story and run with it. And of course, any questions, I am free to. I am of course happy to tease you mercilessly about.
Of course. The next three questions from Free Jones are for Corky specifically. First one being, how have you found DMing this very large metagame campaign?
And Corky, you may be on mute.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm not on mute. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, yeah. It was just more work than previously because now I'm the showrunner and not the third guy to the left. But yeah, I had all the starting points basically. And yeah, no, it's cool, and it's really nice. I like it.
That leads into their next question. What's the best and worst part of the experience so far?
What's the best part? I can do whatever the fuck I want with the story. And the worst part is I have to do whatever I want with the story, and I don't know when Div might jump out of the bushes and tell, oh no, that's wrong. You can't do that, but yeah, no, that rarely happens. The worst part of the experience actually is I don't have a worst part actually. It's cool.
That's
I
good.
absolutely like it. I love DMing. I haven't done it in a while. Largest crowd so far was 10. Now it's a tiny bit larger, but hey.
Oh, there you go.
And I have help. I love help. I love my help. They're really, really great. even if a little bit over enthusiastic in one case, but they're great.
That's good. Their third question is, can you share any insights about the process you and the volunteer team do to create storylines and events?
Yep, I can. Next question.
You can, but you want.
No, don't worry. Like I said, I had all the starting points. I basically knew with some stuff where to go. Then I got what I didn't know, and worked it in. And we have some storylines, most transferred by me from the old team, which I was a part of, to the new team, which I'm the runner of. And we have several storylines, and then we did a brainstorm, a big, and I have this idea, I have that idea, and now we have several streams of story, and I like straighten out stuff like, if Pembroke is the topic, you will see Pembroke, and then what Pembroke decision. So or Narvik. If a plan is related to Narvik or Norway, then you will see Narvik in the first place. So you don't wonder, is it the same storyline or is it a different storyline? And we draw a lot from not knowledge in our heads, but knowledge where to look.
Yeah.
A good example was today in the War Channel what Messerbear did, even though he is not part of the team. But he stumbled into something which resembles my way of figuring stuff out. But I don't think he noticed what was off. And now he's rushing back. Is he here?
I don't see him unless he's listening.
Anyhow, everyone is rushing back to the War Channel and looking what Messerbear found out. What I am very keen on is to be fair. And like I said, it's only the second week finished, or almost finished, because it's all volunteers, and we have all families, and one of us is moving and whatever. So when I put in the fillers for the Soviet Union and the United Kingdom, that was because our writers are not available at the moment, but will be soon.
Okay.
And worst case, I have to step in, but I'm pretty packed for the next 7 days, so that won't happen.
All right.
If anyone has additional questions or follow-up questions, write them in the chat, so Wickbeard can pick them up.
Moving on to the next question from Rosenthal. They want to know what the name of 39 Ton's friend in the dry dock is. I don't remember.
Unfortunately, you need Yami for that one. They all have names. 3910 actually has a name as well.
Oh, or no.
But I cannot for the life of me remember her name. But yeah, there's 4 or 6 of them that we did, the Seagulls, right? And actually,
there's Elsie, there's Bianca. I know 2 of them off the top of my head.
I think Bianca is 39 Ton. I don't know. Can't remember who else is. Anyway, you need Yami for the whole thing. But yeah, they are actually named, and hopefully, you will see them in the game at a certain point.
Hopefully. All right, move on then. I'll ask Yami about that later. Next question is from a Toxic Tuna. Multiple people were wondering for this Q&A, is Maryland available for the mural or not? They've received conflicting messages on it.
Yeah, so as Horse Memes well knows, we're not exactly opposed to, virtually, any bill you can think of. If you guys want to select them and make a strong enough case for them, then I think we sort of like that, right? We kind of like that craziness, right? And we find that really enjoyable. So I would say she's open to it. Now, we have plans for Maryland, but if you guys are like, no, we're going to do the mural for her, well then, sure, have at it.
Okay. Next set of questions are from Calc. First one being, why is Atlantis a Mayan goddess? Where did the idea for that costume come from?
Yeah, it comes from. So I'm not the one who did the mural, surprise, surprise, but I remember this one because this happened, I don't know, a bazillion years ago. On her original design board, they looked up what the German conception of Atlantis was at the time, and there's a movie, I don't know, called the Atlanteans or Atlantis or something. There's a movie from the 20s or 30s from German cinema, Weimar cinema, and definitely some parts of her costume, right, are inspired by that. And the other half of it was there was a popular theory at the time that the Mayans were in some ways the descendants of the Atlanteans or connected to the Atlanteans. And so as a consequence, that got blended in as well. But yeah, it was just a portmanteau of those influences.
Okay, that's interesting.
Was it Die Herren von Atlantis by chance?
I was not the guy who did that one, so I don't know. I just remember seeing the pictures on the mural.
All right. And their second question is not really a question, more of a request. They would like you to upload Hosho and the other Kickstarter bearers' character sheets onto the Dropbox if you could.
Okay, I'll ping the broader team to see what they want to do there.
Yeah. Next set of questions is from Alex. First one is pertaining to the deal that I know you know about, Diff, because you've been a part of it, between various powers and various things under the water that may or may not eventually be under the water. And they want to know if, now that we have more control, are these deals easier to accomplish?
Well, I think that Corky is probably the relevant person to answer this. I'll give the historical context, and then Corky can tell you how or if that's changed. The way that we looked at all those things previously is that we gathered together, sort of player ideas and concepts. And then, if from a historical admiralty or political point of view, it can make sense, right, in this context. That's well within the sort of trade deals that might be, done during time of war, or within the sort of the limits of alliance. Then yeah, that could work its way into war plans, or perhaps be even decisioned. There are some things, there wasn't a whole lot of, order fulfillment on ships, right, that happened during wartime for obvious reasons. Between powers that were not co-belligerent, and so as a consequence, you can imagine what the historical response is likely to have been in that scenario. But Corky, what's your take on it?
Yes. That's absolutely correct what you said. We work with eventualities, with historical eventualities, but like you have already seen maybe or overlooked, the Navy can tip the political balance. So if I or someone can argue and back it up, oh, this was disputed and only went this way because, and we can say, okay, but now we have more or less the naval high command, and they can make a decision on it and influence it one way or the other, then this can change. For all the trade deals, they can be addressed if you finally decide not to have ideas not going to the Atlantic. So I basically, for next cycle, they are in my head. And then we'll see who actually wants to make deals or doesn't want to make deals, because you are just the top brass and maybe your troops decide different. You know what I mean. The Soviet Mobics are a bit of a reputation there. Yeah, and you will not see in the same week like Britain and the US decide on bomber delivery. No, you will see, okay, the British want something, so they get the first decision, trade deal, yes or no. And if the Brits say no, then the US doesn't have to worry about it because they don't want the trade deal. So this storyline is nipped in the butt, and ja, das war's dann, wie wir so sagen. That's it. If one side has to start, and trade deal negotiations didn't happen in 24 hours. They were also taken through several weeks. But what can happen? So let's say, like it already happened, the Brits say we want to trade deal with the US. Okay. We implement a war plan, deal or no deal. And the Brits say, yes, we want a deal. And then I could go to the British War Room and ask, what kind of deal would you ideally want? And then you say, yeah, we have a majority opinion, we have a minority opinion, and maybe you are unlucky and I find something historical, completely different opinion. And then you get a three-way choice in the week after, deciding on what kind of deal you want. A good example is the sale of the ships by the Germans. Mm-hmm. Although this was a parallel effort, because that was not entirely me, but a good portion of me. And that was, yeah, I would have stretched it over 2 weeks, like, okay, offer, counter offer, and so on, because that's how it would naturally go. And yeah, you basically wouldn't see in 1 week a completely closed deal. So a deal will take time, and also escorts in the Atlantic, but you know that.
Yeah, Atlantic's a dangerous place. Got to worry about that sort of thing. Okay, and his next question was regarding the SS Normandy. If she is still interned or not, considering it happened at the start of World War II for the French, at least historically.
When we last left her, she is presently interned. I imagine it would be relatively simple to get her out. Given what's going on with the Morganas. But yes, she is still interned, or at least she was. Last time we left her.
Okay.
When did we leave her?
Before the transition, Cordy.
Yes, but if they want to pick it up, I want to give it to them. That's all. In one way or another.
She's got a radar. She's got some RDF on her. Actually, well, maybe that was taken off, but she did.
Where is she interned?
New York.
New York. Well, okay.
The next
don't the volunteers come from New York? That's all I'm saying for now. Sorry.
That's tough. The next question's from Strafe. What is the current capability of the Italian naval base in Mogadishu? What ships can it hold in its dry dock? What ships can it construct, if any? If we know.
Yeah. So we set a timer on that, and I don't know if it carried over. That's a good point that I got to get to Corky. But it's that thing. We're talking about dry docks here. That's not gonna be ready till like the middle of 1940. As to the size, I think we had it like cruiser sized, but definitely not battleships.
Okay. Let's see. Next set of questions are from Glatux. What is Asphyxiation's actual size, and is she romantically available?
Oh, big enough.
I think that she presents as very large indeed. Although, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong, there's nothing that would stop her from adopting a more human form.
Yeah. I mean, and her preference, I believe, is around 200 feet, because that's my back-of-the-envelope calculation for grappling Achilles right at the beginning. If y'all remember that Kickstarter entry way back in the day, but certainly she's open to experimentation, and you can take that however you like.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, are any of the Morganas romantically available? Absolutely. They would all love to romance you. You might not survive the encounter, but they would definitely like to kind of get you in their clutches. Sure. Yeah.
All right. And their follow-up question is, what are Mischief's political opinions? And is she romantically available? Which we know the answer to the second part.
You know the answer on that one. Jank, how would you characterize Mischief's political opinions?
Well, the answer to these questions, what are her politics and what are her romantic inclinations? I mean, the answer is the same. She's in it for the memes. So she would do whatever's funniest.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is why she went for the French.
So yeah, funny guys, your quid's in.
And yes, I said that out loud.
All right. Well, that's all the questions that have been sent in beforehand.
Wait a second. On the romantic stuff, Glatux, you and I know they are all romantically available if you can seduce them. Even if two of them are married, that's a reason, but no real hindrance. We both know that. That's all.
But
yes, you are marked, and yes, Glatux is marked in my area of work as #1 romanticizer.
It's always good to be known for something.
Yeah. Sexy voice via text chat and #1 romanticizer.
I've seen a couple of questions get asked in the chat, so I'll go ahead and start with those. Waffle wants to know, Soyuz win?
Every time that question is asked, we add a week to the schedule.
Got it.
Every time that question is asked, the percentage completion decreases.
Yes, it's at 0. It's at 0. No.
Just like in history.
Well, and there's actually a pretty fun gamble here, because the longer you delay, maybe the better they get. But by the end, the war may be over. So your choice.
Waffle, I don't think we know the direction that the team is going to go. But suffice to say,
I just told you, she is dead. Cat was just not finished with writing the USSR, but I gave the order to make it explicitly clear that she's in pieces.
Oh, there it is, Waffle. I'm sorry, my man.
Rip.
The NKVD did not take that lightly, and they didn't aim very well. But now they have some spare guns, you might have noticed.
On the other hand, Waffle, to just inject a note of hope. If Connie's not dead, surely Soyuz is not dead.
You can revive her when you find a publisher. No, but there are 3 other beautiful ladies of her class. Still not dead, technically. So, just don't pull off another mutiny, comrade Ruffle.
All right. The second question I saw was from Horse Memes. Are very major historical events locked in and guaranteed to happen? Primary examples being France falling and capitulating in 1940, Italy joining the Axis, Operation Barbarossa, etc., etc. Not asking if it's likely or easy to avoid them, just if it's possible at all.
Yeah, I'll give the historical context, and then Corky, if you want to give sort of like your take on it. For us, the answer is definitely yes. But for example, with the fall of France, if you wish to avoid that outcome, you really want to think about what were, I should say, the conditions that made the success of the Germans possible at that time, and then do what you can to avoid that. But it's really interesting because the players themselves were I mean, they're like, dial plan, let's do it. Right. And it was funny, I don't remember who, but I remember reading like someone going, wait a minute, we didn't select the dial plan, and then somebody looks it up and it's like, oh yeah, actually I guess I guess we did, right? So there were other factors, and Corky may elaborate here, but we don't want to do any spoilers. But I'll simply say that now Allied strategy is what Allied strategy is. Now, the fall of France, whether that happens or not, probably lies outside of France proper as to what happens next. Corky, anything to add onto that?
You said more than I would have done.
Oh,
all I'm adding is Hunzinger is a very German name, and he is still not an officer in the Navy. So maybe you're screwed. Maybe.
Well, there you go. Next question I saw was from Free Jones. They want to know if certain story beats like the war in China are on the table to advance.
Corky?
Sorry, what was the question? China?
They want to know if that storyline is on the table or something we can continue to advance, or if that's something that's been put on the back burner.
China, yes, it is on the table because China has a coast. But for now, the political scheming is basically done for a while, I guess. Except Japan hits me with a very good idea. I'm open to good ideas. That's, by the way, for anyone still not on par with this, the war room setup with the contact players is meant you can ask for, can we start a storyline about? And maybe I respond. But you'll definitely see if something along the lines comes up. And China, it will be continued eventually in some way. But it is now on land, and you have a very independent army over there. And you actually, in my opinion, the Navy did all it could for now. So politically, it's more or less a done deal. But there is one arrow left in that plot, but not directly directed to China, but it will affect China. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we have the whole February and March for that one. So in the next 6 circles, certainly.
All right. Diff, this next one's probably most pertinent for you. Arby wants to know about Galicia's mural, if there's a sort of time frame progress on her. If you know that.
That one's actually for Yami. I don't do anything with the murals. Galicia. I don't know. I seem to recall that being, well, you know what? To me, what's done, right, and complete and looks great, definitely not what the art director thinks is done and looks great. So I can't actually answer that question, except to say that I think it's decently advanced.
Okay. RB, send that to me and I will forward that to Yami and try and get you an answer on that. Or you can ask Yami yourself as well, whichever you're more comfortable with. Now I gotta catch up. Anyone else ask any questions? From Calc, will we see any M files with the Bug Morgana anytime soon?
I don't think I'm at liberty to say. Jank, am I at liberty to say? Has that been announced in any way? Wigbert, maybe you know.
I don't know anything. You know way more than I know.
And I don't think I'm at liberty to say.
Nothing's been discussed externally, certainly.
I mean, of course you're at liberty to say, Dave. You're at liberty to say what you'd like to say. Uh-huh. Alright, I have caught up, so if anyone has any questions, they can put them in, and I will ask them, or someone will read them and ask them.
When is Baria's execution scheduled? Yeah, 10 o'clock. That's correct. I think there's a YouTube you could probably watch on that one, Weed. Do we have a sneak peek? I don't think we have a sneak peek, Zodiark. We have something else, but I don't know. I don't know the time on that one.
Yeah, I'm not. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is. I'm not privy to that information, so I couldn't tell you either. Don't bother asking me.
Wigbert, sometimes I think you probably know more than I do, so you know.
I've been a little busy the past month and a half. I haven't had much time to wheedle my way into such information, I'm afraid.
Welly, the progress on Renown and Grazia is, I don't know when it's coming out. I know that they were working on it, but I don't know when it'll be out, unfortunately.
What I have seen of Renown, I love.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Galizia looks amazing. Like I said, to me, they look done. but the art director says no. So I'm going to go with what she says.
I see several people are typing. Waffle wants to know what the content of Avarice's letter is.
Yeah, they just just a letter. No big deal. There was another letter that went to the Japanese, I recall. Good question, Calc. I don't know the answer on that. That's more of a Yams thing. Well, Yam and Jank, actually.
Yeah, Calc. Whenever competitions are usually held, whenever I ask Gabby if they want to hold another competition.
See, so it's Wigbert.
Yeah, Yam is the prime mover on that front. I assist, but she facilitates.
I'll ask probably for the next one. It has been a while. You are
right. Yes, LKB. Nothing ever happened there, right? Oh, maybe France doesn't fall.
I want to see, obviously France does the counter invasion, of course.
Yeah,
they do.
What some people tend to forget is, if it isn't touched directly, it goes down as it did in history. Yeah. So the French army is still not really in a shape to go on the offensive.
Yeah, let's not talk about national armies as one of the Italian representatives. Let's not talk about that at all.
Alex, I think the short answer is that while no event is unavoidable, you may already be on the path. In other words, earlier decisions may have already determined, all the necessary factors for whether it happens or does not happen.
Perhaps there is hope for what we in esports call a reverse sweep.
Calc would like to know if there's anything you guys are working on publicity-wise.
Marketing continues, right? Advertising continues. But really, until we have a publisher lined up, that's really the thing, right? That's where all of our attention has to be focused.
Okay. Wellington wants to know if they'll ever figure out what the hell happened with their fun Morgana mine.
Oh, are you talking about the one that washed up in Brighton?
Yeah, what mine? I don't know what you're talking about. There's no mine.
It's yours.
Yeah, there's a new establishment over there at King Alfred, but mine, we're just not really sure what you're talking about.
We should tell the First Admiral to intern Wellington. He asks very suspicious question. Probably works for the up there. In fact, I'm certain of it.
I think you're going to get a similar answer, Weebius, for Soviet Morgana tech choices.
Yeah, so Weebius, I think it's fair to say that you'll find out when you find out. It's certainly not something that is being widely advertised in any nation.
Yeah. Yeah, tech will show up in plans when it is time, or if there is space, because you can't do everything at once. Yeah, everyone is a very busy naval high command.
How tall is Sedition? Oh, we actually do have access to that information. That should be in that one file. Not the one you're thinking of.
The other one.
A different file entirely. The correct file this time, hopefully.
Several people are typing.
That's an interesting question from Alex. When the time comes, can they blast Mischief's talk show and radio signal over the Magno line, like South Korea, North Korea?
If the time comes, why not?
If I recall correctly, Sedition was pretty mid in terms of height. That is, but that's not something that I have right off the top of my head.
Okay. Do you have John Bart's height as well? That's
Oh boy! Just today.
That's cutting a little close to home right there.
I'm also psychic. I realize.
Sedition is 5'1", is what it says.
Oh, I was wrong.
That's cute. And as a War Master, she's my soul Morgana. Anyways.
Wellington would like to know do we just keep accruing Morgana tech points, or does it roll over and give some kind of unlock?
The answer is
you keep accruing Morgana tech points until you roll over.
There are many different Morgana technologies, and so you accrue them, and yeah, they are intended to unlock. Yes.
Okay. Intended to unlock something at some point, perhaps.
They might have already unlocked.
Oh, very fancy.
I heard the Germans were building something.
Yeah, some sort of weather machine. I'm sure it's all nonsense. Any new features planned or in the works that you can share?
We have a ton of features planned and in the works, but we are on pause, right, predominantly until we get a publisher. So would love to talk your ears off about some very cool stuff, but yeah, first things first.
All right.
I can say something, just for the fun of it. I have decided on the middle power plans, and I already wrote some info next cycle.
Oh, that's nice. So the middle powers being things like the Netherlands?
Yes.
Very fun.
The Kickstarter countries are the middle powers, like in the logbook. And yeah, to give you a sense how I handle it. So you have the major powers, they make their own decisions and they can influence others. The Netherlands, Poland, especially Poland, Spain, and yeah, with Turkey is a bit offshoot, but those three, they can get options, but can be pressured by what is called mercenaries in the chat usually. That I usually mention diplomatic pressure in some form. Yeah, that's the allied players who are not playing for allied nations or Netherlands at all. And then you have the minor powers like Norway. They just have to live with whatever decision you do. And the Netherlands and the Poles, for example, they can at least be steered by the players a little bit.
Okay.
Actually starting this week with the Aura decision. The Aura decision is Aura to Spain or Aura to Germany, Axis Warpline. And next week I have one for Poland and the Netherlands, and if a certain Spanish captain has an idea, he has a monopoly on his Axis plan.
Fair enough. That'll at least bring some more interesting things to the weekly
and if the two Polish players come back, they get the same reward as it's basically the participation medal, because the small nations are all endangered species.
True.
For now.
I know. I would like Italy to grab its own small endangered nation, but we'll see. Maybe one day. Heister wants. Oh, go ahead, Diff.
Yeah, I think Heister, Alex got the right answer for Heister, but Horsebeans, yeah, that fix is in, but I can't say when exactly it's going to be deployed. Maybe next, sort of bell cycle when we release the next one. I can't really say, but yeah, that fix is in.
Okay. Wellington wants to know, because Victory isn't in the same thing as Constitution, can they do war plans with her and with Royal Oak if they so choose?
That's a quirky question.
Yeah, no, look, Wellington, you see, when you ask your original question and I responded no, it was because the USS Constitution is at the bottom of a river in the colonies. Yes? Victory and Royal Oak are not. So they are not the same thing and not in the same spot. Okay?
Gotta be more specific.
Carry on.
Always pays to be specific with your questions, but let's see, what else do we have?
I'm DMing since 2 decades now. For 2 decades now.
What have we got? I don't think I missed it.
Okay. After I asked the first admiral to arrest Wellington, please, anybody shoot Kalk.
Gang, I have to drop here. I've got a hard stop. But Looks like we caught up on all of at least of my questions. I'll drop here, but Wigbert, let me know the next time, and we'll get it going.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, cheers, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Alright.
I think we'll stop it there for today.
Okay. If anyone wants to amuse me with funny questions, I have a few minutes left.
Let's see if we can't amuse the DM. That's always a good one. You want to amuse your DM, then they're merciful.
Oh, he got one. I wait. Doesn't.
I had forgotten about that squadron.
You can always ask for war plans. You don't always get an answer.
Oh, I've got one for you, Corky. Can we just conveniently, Italy, can we conveniently steal the Suez just for ourselves? I'd like that as a war plan, please. Maybe
That's
throw in a
good.
few Mediterranean islands while we're at it, and they don't need them.
That's good.
Yeah.
I heard Malta is lovely this time of year.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
And the British are very busy and giving you actually domain over the Western Mediterranean.
I know. Really,
it's a wonderful trap you've set up there.
Yeah, we're protecting it for them. We're doing it for the people, you see. They need protection. They deserve protection.
CC, Mare Nostrum.
Yes, exactly. We're just providing what have, clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. Has anyone checked where the British ships are at the moment? And which are even available to be in Alexandria and Malta?
I'll have to get my people on checking that one as well.
I heard there are a suspiciously large number of carriers in the North Sea that can't be in the Med.
True, that was actually mentioned. Waffle wants to unlock war plans where they throw Beria to the Finnish.
Oh, yeah. First of all, it's not Väinämöinen, it's Väinämöinen. And since you made 3 typos there, no.
Yeah. See, there's a law. You have to be grammatically correct. Your war plan isn't grammatically correct. It's an instant no.
It's just the wrong name. It's someone else.
You just get a strange Finnish woman. You have no idea who it is.
In our own channel first. Oh, the French getting plans.
They always have plans.
I wonder who they want to check now. They always want to check the Morgana first, make plans later. How much damage could her Göring? Oh, this is also written wrong. She was dropped directly onto London from high altitudes. I think there is enough fat scrubber in London to get rid of the damage.